Hello, retail traders. I'm Washboardjim with a sneaky snake trading strategy where I talk about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. And one of the ingredients for this strategy to work is being in the now. Well, there's one that's popped up in the news here lately of recalibration of the company and its logo. And you probably know what I'm talking about. Yes, Cracker Barrel. So back in July of 2023, they hired new CEO Julie Fels-Massanio as the company's new president and chief officer. And ever since then, this stock has dropped. And it's dropped because of other reasons, COVID, and then we had that high recession or high inflation under the Biden administration where people were just not going out and eating. So that was a little bit of the catalyst to bring it down before she got hired. And then they said we had a roaring economy during the Biden regime, and they hired this lady to take over and run the business. Well, if anybody knows anything about her, she's a big liberal, huge liberal. And most of Wall Street is. Most of the CEOs are. 95% of them are liberals. And they got into this thing about wokeism. So this became a woke stock. And it was a conservative company. Kind of. I mean, the guy that founded it was from the South and Southern hospitality and Southern food. And I've ate there a few times, but I haven't made a habit of it because it's kind of out of my city limits. But I think if it was around, I might have went in there and ate a few more times than what I did. But she's definitely a woke CEO and destroys a legendary brand, gets mocked. So she brought racism into this here switchover. And, you know, sometimes when companies don't have a new makeover or because times change and politics sure have changed, and so has America, you got to open up your brand a little bit. But the way you go about it is two different ways, you know. You don't want to go the way she did it, public and bad-mouthing mega and most of her clientele and trying to bring in a new clientele and just restructuring the name, you know, bad with an old man sitting there by a barrel. So she got rid of that slogan and put up a new slogan. And I just wanted to bring our attention to we're at a major support level and we still are bearish as long as you can tell that. This is the weekly time frame. And, you know, I have mixed messages about these woke stocks. I usually like to wait for the bottom and then scalp them, day trade them, but not swing trade them. But here lately, it's been in the news and, you know, bad-mouthing the brand and coming up with a whole new slogan just like overnight doesn't work very well in any kind of business. So we definitely had a pullback. When she took office, when she took over, it was at around $100. Now it's cut more than 60%. And had a bounce back up here lately, and then the news came out to where it kind of had a little pullback. Well, I'm going to kind of show you a couple patterns in here. This is the weekly time frame. I'm iffy about it. I mean, if it presents a good opportunity, I might trade it. Like if we get another little pullback here right around $50, double bottom off that wick, I might jump in it on the weekly and just kind of swing it for a couple of days to the upside. And I'm going to show you a couple chart patterns here that would help you out trading in the long run. So this is the weekly time frame. Each one of these candles represent a week, and these are my moving averages. Right now we're bouncing off the 50 SMA, and we've got the 60, and the rest of these are all EMAs. We have the 63, the 21, and the 9. And then up on top we have resistance, which is the 200 EMA and the 200 SMA on the weekly time frame. These time frames move around in different time frames that you're looking at them. So On the weekly and the yearly, daily, we have what you call an inverse head and shoulders. And we came down and almost hit that inverse head and shoulders. If I adjusted this up just a little bit, I bet you we did hit that, but I got this set on the daily right now. But I think we probably hit that head and shoulders. This is your head, this is your left shoulder, and this is your right shoulder. Now, once they break out of that shoulder pattern, they like to come back and touch that shoulder again. And then that news came out, and a little bit of stigma kind of got into this here trade here, and it's pulled back. So we could have an opportunity for day trade this coming week, or even a scalp. Again, I'm going to mention that Wall Street, the fat cats, are 95% liberals, progressive liberals, to where they've kind of thinned that out a lot. But I'm a retail trader, so I kind of trade like they do in a way. I think how they're thinking, then I go off whatever they're saying, usually the opposite. So they might come out and start pumping this stock and say it's a strong buy. The fat cats, the ones that put out the alerts on the news, and we'll pull up that news right here. Why Cracker Barrel stock dropped. Was it a buy the dip moment? Was it a buy or wasn't it? Cracker Barrel CMO defends rebrand after market tumbles. Now they're blaming it on the market. Cracker Barrel Old Country Store shares slightly recover. Cracker Barrel rebound blunder. Americans read whatever that is. What's next to the dining chain? So, 50-50 thing in the news. Let's go to Wahoo Finance and see what they got to say about it. Cracker Barrel loses almost $100 million in value. This was 15 hours ago with the new logo release. They're racist. They were racist. And I never thought they were racist until they were told that they were racist. I got hit with a biscuit in there one time. Guy threw a biscuit across the room and hit me in the head, and I thought this was a fun place to eat at. Why Cracker Barrel stock drop? Was it a buy the dip moment? The week in business, airlines get sued. Cracker Barrel gets a glow up. Some of these headlines I just don't understand. Rebrand the US culture fixture. Cracker Barrel sparks backlash. Cracker Barrel stock dips after rebranding backlash. So it's just like news, I don't know if it's that important or not. Cracker Barrel's first rebrand in 50 years backfires. I kind of think it does. You just don't do something like that overnight and then call your company a racist if you work for them. So they're going to try to hire minorities and stuff like that, pick people's color, skin, and gender, and who knows, they might throw a tranny in there every once in a while. But I think that's kind of racist. I always like to hire on merit. I don't care what color your skin is. As long as you want to work and you want to work hard, you got the job. Cracker Barrel stock tanks after unveiling a controversial logo. This could just be a buy opportunity, in my opinion. Might want to give it a couple days to see how it goes this week. If we get a nice little dip, we're at a position now where I think any kind of pullback would be a good day trade or a scalp. And then when the news, the upgrades start to come out, then you want to go ahead and start going on a swing trade for about a week or so. Backlash, backlash, backlash. So that's what we got in the news. So this is the weekly time frame, and we're bounced up here off the that's the 50 SMA, and then we got this head and shoulders on the daily. And we also got a head and shoulders where we stopped at right up here. This is called inverse, and this is called head and shoulders. And we're going to go ahead and put a trend line on there. And I use the bodies of the candle and run it up to the body of the candle, because that way I know I can get in and out of a trade before, because a lot of people like to take it to the wicks. Sometimes they don't get to that wick, but it might sure get to that body, and that body resistance is right around 63.04. So we're going to put a price line And we're going to call that a hard resistance right there, right around $63. And then the support level will definitely be down here right around a little under 50. We're going to just put it right at 50 bucks. So if we come in Monday or Tuesday and this thing pulls back and hits that 50 SMA or even the 50 bucks, we're going to find a buy signal on it. Now I'm going to take this to the daily. Like I said, I'm not going to trade this biasly. I like to trade these woke stocks when they pull back real hard. And now here on the daily, we still got that, we got that wick right off that there $50 mark, a little bit above it. And then we've got the 200 SMA now for a solid support on the daily. And we got the EMA right here where we had that hammer. So this is an inverted hammer. We could pull back and hit that support level there at right around 53 bucks. I doubt if I can get that in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that price line right there. And I'm going to set an alert right above that $53. And I'm going to type in here 200 SMA on the daily. Then I'm going to go ahead and put at or below. And there's my alert set. So when we hit that $50, or even if we hit 53.24, I might be able to get in this trade. And then we've got resistance to break. Right now we closed at 54.40. So the resistance will be right above that 200 EMA, right around $55. And I'm going to set an alert at that 200 EMA. Call it resistance to break. On the daily. Whoop. I want to change that. We'll just go back and do this thing all over again. So right above the 50. And then on the daily, create an alert. I'll move this up to 55. Change that to at or above. Type in the 200 EMA. On daily. Okay, I got them set pretty good. So we've got that resistance to break, and if that goes ahead and break, we could probably run this up to the 63 or to the 9. And we're going to go ahead and just put an alert right here at right around $58, a little under $58 on the 9 EMA on the daily for this coming week. And I'll go ahead and set that alert. 9 EMA resistance on the daily. So when these alerts pop up, I'll know exactly what we're looking at. Then I'm going to take this to the 1 hour time frame and see if I see anything on the 1 hour. Easily can come back and hit this right shoulder one more time, this first one right here. So I'm going to bring this up. Well, actually, I'll put another alert right there. And call this a double bottom. On the 1 hour. That should more or less do it for us. And we'll know when we get into this trade and look at it Monday. And if we break this resistance right here, this will be a double top. And it kind of has a yin-yang effect to it right now. So we're going to go ahead and put a price line right there. And I'm going to change this color here. And that's going to be our pivot point. And I'll make this blue. And I'll know that that's a major resistance to break. And that'll be a double top. And I'll look at the 1 hour. And that runs right into the 63. So basically we're going to see if this thing pulls back and settles at the double bottom. And if that doesn't happen, this 52.06 and then a strong buy at $50. A little bit above it maybe, but that's going to be my support levels. And then the resistance levels to break is going to be that $55 to 58, 57 something, and this then 63. And then maybe if it gets hot and we get into a good run on this thing, it could run about $4 and hit that 200 EMA right here. And I'm going to put a price line right across that. And that's going to be our hard resistance. Right around 50, 59, 50, 58, 87. So I'd keep a good eye on this coming week. See if this news kind of settles now. It's been a couple of days since she came out and opened up her chops. And I personally don't really care for her that much. But she gets $6 million a year to lose $100 million in a company and then spend an ungodly amount of money to try to rebrand it, which I don't see nothing wrong with rebranding. I have my own business. I didn't go in there overnight and say, evil things about the company, because to me they had a pretty good clientele. I think I'd have kept my mouth shut and maybe done a few things and made some changes, but I wouldn't have rebranded it like she did. But who knows? It might work out for her, and then it might not. We've seen what happened to Bud Light. We've seen what happened to Disney. We've seen what happened to Nike. They're still failing companies, and they're not doing very well. Now, Budweiser, Fat Cat's got all thrown into that one, but it had a pretty good crash also, and it rebounded some. But Disney has a lot of issues. Nike, I can go with a couple of these big fat companies that haven't done very well at all. Actually, I'll never drink a Bud Light in my life ever again. And I didn't drink it anyway. I made my own beer. And the same way the Cracker Barrel and all these places that you go out and eat. And when I go out and eat now, I'm eating at real nice joints. I want to make sure, that the food is healthy. And I've changed my diet quite a bit here in the last couple of years. I eat a lot healthier now. And that might be another reason why some of these restaurants ain't doing too well. So let's go ahead and just keep a good eye on this company. Again, this is a sneaky snake trading strategy where I talk about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in and out. Who knows, like I said, I'm gonna be neutral. And when I start seeing the headlines come out and I see a few upgrades, I think that's when the fat cats are going to try. They're probably in it right now. They're probably bought the dip Then they'll come out and pump it, because it is at a good support level on both the 50 and the weekly and the daily, and they just look like they're at good spots to go ahead and run it up a little bit and kind of let this cool off a little bit, and we'll just have to wait and see. Everybody have a great day. See you this week. Hit that subscribe and like, and if you have any comments below, tell me what you think of the stock, and have a great day.